Hi, I'm Judy and welcome to the show. Today I'm joined by Andrea Stubbs, who it's a little weird for me because I've known her forever. And when I look at her work, I always think somebody else needs to see this. So we're here today to talk about Andrea's work and to meet her and to see what it is that she does. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Jude.
So Ange.
Thank you.
So first let's talk about you. I know you've started this later on in your life. Prior to that, you had an interesting background.
Yeah. Prior to that, in my youth, I worked for the telephone company. Yeah. And I did that for 26 years in many iterations of whatever I did, from customer service to data networking. And then I retired because they made me an offer I could not refuse. And then I said, I got to do something else.
But I feel like you've always had a little bit of artistic thing going on.
Always. Grew up in a house where, Daddy played the guitar, Mom was always making something, was always music. I went to camp in Martha's Vineyard for the summers, art and dance and all of that kind of stuff. So always creative, sitting in my room drawing or whatever. So it was, that kind of life, and it's just always been with me, and now I just have an opportunity to really do my thing.
Yeah. Now, obviously what you do is very different. I've had painters and I've had collage people and many different kinds of art, but what you do is very original. Not something you see every day.
True. Very true.
Yeah, so tell me how you got started in this.
Okay, so how I got started in this is many moons ago, when my children were little, I bought them ugly furniture. And it was ugly, and it was boring, and it was plain, and it was wood, and I'm like, I can't look at this is gross. So I said, what can I do? And I said, oh, let me decide if I can burn.
It just
came out, I don't know why, but I said, let me see if I can burn design into this. And I did, and it came out beautiful, and I was like, wow, this is a thing. And from there, I just said, well, let me start burning other things. So I started burning little boxes and and that's how it started. That's how it started. Okay. And then people liked them, and they were like, ooh, could you make me this, or could you make me that, or whatever. And it just became a thing where I would give them as gifts, which is actually how it really started. I started giving things as gifts, and it grew from little tiny boxes to bigger boxes to now I start doing wall art and bowls and vessels and things. So yes, it's grown.
It's grown from some lines on some furniture.
Exactly.
If I recall, the furniture was a little bit like that frame.
Actually, you're absolutely right. It was very much like that frame.
Take a look at that. Very geometric and very much straight lines. And the leap from that to that is huge.
Huge. Yes.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
So did you always know you had this?
Yes, I'd have to say.
Thing?
Yes, I have to say. I think it's in my genes. Seriously, my brother was an artist, very talented, different kind of weird guy, and weird art too, but really talented. And I used to dance, but I was always sketching or drawing, and I was into interior design for quite some time too, putting things together in color and shape and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a part of, it's who I am. It's who I am. And so now with the wood thing, I see things. I see things.
I see people.
I see, yeah.
So when you first started, I'm going to use this as an example. This is kind of when we first started making boxes. They kind of had this very geometric-y sort of feel to them. I wanted you to just tell our audiences a little bit about where these wood pieces come from, because I think that's such a great story.
Okay, yeah, so that is a great story. I, make these things, and I actually collaborate with a girlfriend, Michelle, and she makes jewelry and stuff, and we've done art shows together. We did one for you, and her father, they live in Heritage Hills, and as it turns out, the old guys in Heritage Hills have a wood shop. So when we would make stuff, he would make frames for us, and it started with that. And then we would bring the stuff in, and the guys would be loving it. And they were like, oh my gosh, we love this, We've got this piece of wood, we've got that piece of wood. Can we do this? Can we do that? And they started making me things. So they'd make me these naked bowls or these naked vessels. And Here you go. And I just got to work on really beautiful wood as
Right,
opposed to
because the
little
wood itself is gorgeous.
junky wood. Yeah, this is cherry.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
So
and
yeah.
And I'm sure they're so proud of what you're turning their work into.
Oh, they love, love, love the pieces.
Yeah.
They really do.
And not to say that, you know, it's a great way for them to use their own creativity and then kind of take it to the next place, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you get a bowl. I'm always interested in people's method.
Go for it.
You get a bowl, and if you can see in the inside of this bowl here, there's this great star-like thing.
And for you Game of Thrones fans, that's the 7-pointed star.
So, how do you decide what goes on what pieces? I mean, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, how does that happen?
I don't know. Sometimes you just look at a thing and say, ooh, that would be interesting if I put something on the inside, because who has a salad bowl with something on the inside, but why not?
Okay.
I have some themes. You know, I have a couple of themes that run through several things. I'm gonna tell you. Like, I don't know if you can see it here on the band of here. You could probably see it on the band of this one better. I call them shadow people, or the watchers. And it kind of represents the spirits of those who've become before that are watching over us. So that theme runs through a lot of pieces.
Okay.
You know, on a band or on the, you know, somewhere. And then we have the dancers. That theme runs on a lot of pieces as well. We have people dancing of all.
And this too, if you can see this one.
Exactly.
If you look at the top of this one, you've got the dancers working on here too.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know, I just think it's happy and whimsical and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the feeling I want to have.
And it's kind of a mark of your work. I feel like people see it and go, oh, that's Andrea's things. Because it has a definite...
They're identifiable, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but not all of your pieces are dancers and watcher people.
No, they're not. Then I grew up. And because when you have things like this, they're solid pieces they're useful. You know what I mean? You're making something useful out of that. So I can do whatever I want. When I get something like this or something like this, and I get a piece of wood, then that's when it becomes really interesting. Because I get inspired by the wood. Now maybe that sounds crazy.
No crazier than anything else I've heard.
Yeah, but I get inspired by the wood. So for example, when I saw this piece of wood, and it was just a plain old piece of wood, somewhere in this piece of wood there was a knot in the wood that made me think, oh my gosh, that looks like a peacock feather. And I started. And then I'm like, oh, and there was another little something in the wood that looked like the head of a peacock. So I said, and that's how this all got built. That's how that happened, you know?
Yeah.
So I see things in wood that maybe everybody sees or maybe not, and then it just comes and becomes something else. That piece on the floor is a long piece of wood, and I'm sure everybody sees woods where the grain goes like this, you know? But does everybody see faces in it? Okay, so I'm crazy. So that's what happens.
So you don't plan ahead what you're going to do?
Never. Never. And it's funny because recently I met a woman at the wood shop, and I had this piece because I was having it framed, and she fell in love with it. Anyway, long story short, she asked me to have she wanted a piece, but she wanted something smaller. So I said, okay, great, you know, we had a conversation about it. And she said, okay, I want exactly what I saw.
And not going to happen.
Exactly, but smaller. And I said, yeah, that's not really going to work. So I said, but I'll tell you what, I'll find something and I'll make it work. And I did. I went and I stood in Home Depot or something staring at the wood, and the people are like, well, she's crazy, but okay. And I'm staring at the wood, and I found a piece, and I said to the guys, can you cut this for me? I need this section of this cut out of here. And they did. And I went home and I worked on it for however long, and it came out, and it came out beautifully. And then like a month later, I sent her an email, and I said, I haven't forgotten you. This is what I did. What do you think? She said, I love it. So, you know, you just don't know. But no two pieces are going to be alike, because no two pieces of wood are going to be the same.
Right, right. And the other thing is, okay, this is a thing. I can identify this.
Right.
Not a thing.
But it is a thing. I mean, you see the figure of a woman there and things, colors, and this flow, and you get a feeling from it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely an emotional response, but it's certainly not as To me, this is a picture.
Yeah, this is a picture, yes. I mean, a definitive bird, person, etc.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
this not so much. This is true. It's a little more abstract. But that's what was in the wood.
Now, you burned that as well.
Yeah, I burned it. I mean, obviously the whole thing isn't burnt because I'm not going to burn every little piece of grain because that would be insane. But I do burn certain figures in it, and then I follow the grain for to do my coloring and have it.
Yeah, let's talk about your coloring is a little bit unique as well. That's something also, you know, it's not just slapping paint on a paintbrush.
Right.
So tell me how you make color.
Okay, so first of all, it's not paint. Well, it is paint, but it's not paint, it's stain. It's wood stain because it's on wood, and I want it to absorb into the wood.
Like furniture stain.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So you get like clear stain, and then you get colors, and then you mix that with the stain. So you mix your own colors. Right. So you have tons of flexibility.
Right.
To
so
have
no two colors are going to be the same.
Never. Never. And it's funny when I stop something and have to go back to it, now I have to blend the color again. I'm like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, but that's
so you're using, then how do you apply the wood stain? I mean,
brushes.
You do use brushes.
I use brushes. Yeah, varying sizes,
like
obviously.
Very tiny
yes,
brushes.
Varying sizes depending. Yeah, I mean, if it's a big, I could use a big brush here, but yeah, very delicately, and it's so much fun, and it's so. I don't know. I want to say liberating. I mean, I just feel so free when I'm doing it. I just get lost in it, and I just love it.
Now, when you do it, do you have to do it in pieces? Because I mean, the stain will run. Doesn't it spread?
No,
it doesn't spread.
No, no, because it's on wood. It's not like it's on a piece of fabric that it's going to. You know, you put something on it and go bleed.
Right.
It's not going to bleed.
Do that together.
Yeah, so no, it stays as if you were painting it, unless you are being sloppy. And there's times when you do want it to bleed, like, you know, some of this you want it to bleed into the next color to get that flow. But it does work. Yeah, and it's so funny because I have, like, you know, Michelle, and she'll say, I don't know how you do that. And she does her thing, and I don't know how she does her thing.
You know, that's it. I've seen everybody do something very different, but to me, it's just so interesting that it's not paint.
Yeah. Yeah,
like you don't see a picture and start painting those lines in.
No, and that's what makes it so interesting. And I'm like, oh, what color am I going to go there? And there are times where I'll start a thing, and I have to walk away, and I may walk away for weeks.
Okay,
you know,
it has to move you.
I just get lost, and I'm like, I can't go any further with this. I don't know what to do. I have sat on things for a year.
Okay.
But eventually they get done.
Yeah. But in the boxes too, do you know the colors while you're doing it, or do you wait till the box is totally burned? And then
I wait till it's totally burned.
And then it speaks to you.
Totally burned, yeah. I mean, when I was using inferior materials, before I got all this beautiful cherry stuff, I used to really, really stain the entire box because I wanted to cover it in its entirety. But because this is cherry and it's so beautiful, I wanted the wood to come through as well.
Right.
So I just, you know, I leave space for that.
I see. Yeah, because your original boxes were always covered.
Yeah, remember?
Completely.
Yeah.
Yes. In the olden days.
Yeah, the olden days. Come on.
Now, I'm just looking at this. Tell me about this.
Okay. So this
has got some dancers. It's got a little of everything.
It's got a little bit of everything. It's got a little
nature. Got a little winds.
Yeah,
got a little,
exactly.
Tell me about. I'm looking at this and I'm going.
Big on the nature.
There's a lot of nature running through all your pieces.
Yeah. This, you know, a lot of things are for show. This is for show, and these are for go. You know what I mean? Because yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to put something in this bowl because I'd want to see what's the top of it looks.
So that's a for show bowl, I guess. You know, I guess you could put something in it, but maybe you wouldn't want to, just whatever. But yeah, that bowl, I think, if I remember, the graining on the inside of the bowl inspired me to do these faces, and it just took off from there. Yeah.
And faces are, again, faces are a thing that I see. I guess because grain does line up like a face.
Often.
Often.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how many projects do you have working on right now?
Oh, gosh. Probably, that I actually have my hands on right now, probably maybe 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to work on this today?
Oh, no, I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And say, oh, I'm going to work on this today. And like I was talking to you yesterday or whenever, and I had found this piece of gorgeous wood, and that the guys from the wood shop gave me. And I just became obsessed with it. And I became obsessed with it for 2 days now. And I have other things to do in my life. But I was obsessed with it, and it's coming out great. So
you just go with it.
So I just go with it while it's
kind of like when you get into a good book. Or no, for me,
Yeah,
I'll get into a good book, and I like eat, sleep, dream,
And you
live.
can't put it down.
Can't put it down
until it's done. Yeah.
So do you work on commission? Do you do people?
Do people commission me to do things?
Thank you so much.
Yes, as a matter of fact, that lady that I was speaking of earlier, she commissioned me to do that piece. So that, yes. And I have had people commission me to do pieces for, I've had people commission me to do little boxes for gifts for people and things like that.
Yeah,
which
they're
is
wonderful
always great.
anniversaries / birthdays / I love you gifts.
Yeah,
they are really
you know,
wonderful.
yeah,
I'm
bridal
just thinking,
showers
well, I'm
and
also
stuff like
thinking
that.
it's a great way to present a diamond ring.
Oh my gosh. I remember a couple of years ago, and I'm sure you've seen them, remember those little ornaments that I made that were the little boxes? And I'm like, this would be perfect for a little engagement ring or something, you know, for Christmas, whatever. So yeah, definitely, I think that's great. And I just wish that more people would stop and think of that. And I get it, you know, people are out busy, you know, shopping for whatever they want to shop for, and they don't necessarily think, oh my gosh, why don't I call Ange and see if she's got something or she can do something for me, because they're so busy in the stores being caught up in all of that.
I'm all about the packaging.
Right.
I'm all about how to put things to a package, which is why I love this stuff so much, because you can really, like you said, wedding presents and things, and you can put things in things. I love that.
Yeah, and that's really, really cool. And I like to wrap things differently. Like I like to wrap things in cloth as opposed to wrapping them in paper. And
Yeah, right.
So
And I did want to mention that each box, in addition to being unique on the outside, is always very unique on the inside. And it's just not a wooden box. It's always got beautiful texture. And I'm all about the texture of that one's green on the inside, and this one's pink.
And this one's blue.
So you kind of match it with whatever you're feeling at the time, which makes it even a more beautiful piece.
Yeah. You
know, finished, much more finished.
And like even the old boxes, I mean, like like I said, these are cherry and these are handmade, and so the ones that were machine made and stuff, I would either line the insides of them or I would stain the insides of them interestingly, so it looked like there was clouds on the inside or something like that.
So it's got something else to talk about.
Exactly.
It's got, what I like about it is you can look at these and look at them for a while and see so many things. It's kind of like looking in the, do you remember like the Where's Waldo pictures?
Oh yeah.
You know, where you can sit there and you can look, and every time you look at it, you see something
different.
Yes. That's what I feel like when I look at your work.
That's cool, Ju.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's just, you stop and you go, and I think that's what makes it so different.
Yeah, no, I recently had that show up in Poughkeepsie, and I was really, really pleased at the response. You know what I mean? I mean, I know how I feel, and you know how you're, and I'm like wary. Not that I don't give myself credit. I give myself credit, but whatever. But other people, you know how your friends will always say, oh, Ange, it's great. You know, we love it. Oh, we love it. We love it. Yeah, so I know you love it because you love me. But when you have strangers looking at your stuff and going, oh my gosh, it just validates it more. And it's awesome. It's just awesome. Yeah. So
do you have a dream piece? You could do a dream piece. What would it be? What would you burn into?
Oh my God. A bed.
A bed.
A bed. Yeah.
Oh.
How cool.
That would be cool.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like headboard, footboard?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So if anyone's out there who wants a bed done, this is your woman.
Yeah, I'm your girl. Okay.
A bed.
Yeah. A bed would be awesome. Like furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it would be different, you know, and no one else
would
have
doing throwbacks to the old ugly furniture again.
Right, but it doesn't have, but this time doesn't have to be ugly furniture. It can be beautiful furniture with beautiful stuff. Yeah.
And I know you've done a guitar.
I've done a guitar, which was awesome. I did one for my son, and I've done a mirror, and yeah, I would love to do a violin, like an electric violin. Oh. You know, because it's just so kind of interesting looking. So just to have that little bit of decoration. I'd love to do instruments, wooden instruments. So cool, so cool. Yeah.
I know we have a xylophone we're working on.
Yes, I finished one xylophone, and I have another one that I'm working on. So, yeah.
So now I see this stuff and I go, oh my goodness, that will look perfect in my house. How do we find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Andrea Stubbs Stroud, and you can find me on Instagram, Anj Stubb, STUB, at Ange Stubb. And I do put stuff up out there. I don't have an Etsy as yet, and I don't have all my stuff out. I don't have a website, and I know I should. You know, I'm working on it. You know, I'm good at this, not so good at that, but I'm working on it. So
everybody knows their strengths. You know,
exactly.
I can't do what you do, but I can post on Facebook.
So there you go. So there you go. So I need that person. Anybody interested? You know, you can have your percentage. Do that stuff. I'll do this stuff. We're golden. Yeah, but that's the deal. That's the way. That's how you can get in touch with me, though. And you have my email. Is it out there?
It's out there.
Okay, so the email's out there. It'll be on the screen. And feel free to email me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Somebody sees your work and goes, "I want to try that."
Good luck. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, I mean.
You know, the burning tools. Just let's talk a little bit about the burning tools because they're very interesting.
Yeah, they are. Somebody that I know that I'm close with, who's very much an artist, tried this, and she said to me, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she said, "That's hard." And you know, for me, it's not hard because I guess because it's what I do, and I've been doing it for a long time. But
I've tried it. It's hard.
Okay. So, that's right, you did. So, the tool is kind of like a soldering iron. It looks kind of like a soldering iron, and it has different tips, so you can make different, you know, kinds of lines and stuff. You have to be very careful. Yes, I have burned myself.
Like one slip up, the piece is ruined.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yes, that is the thing. You have to know, once you commit, You're committed. Done. Yes, once you burn that in, you can't erase it. Most of the time, you can't sand it out because it's too deep. So you really need to know. There used to be a time when I used to just wing it and say, oh, I'm just going to do this. Now I draw first.
And do you actually go over the exact lines that you draw?
Sometimes
not.
I mean, I start, and then, you know, obviously you're going to go off. But when it's something like that, when you're doing a million feathers, yeah, your lines are going to be, you know, where they're supposed to be. But that's okay.
Just the way it feels.
But it's nice to have the texture of that. But it's very time consuming and very tedious and very hot.
And very hot.
Very, very hot. You have to be very, very careful. It's not something, I mean, I've often said, oh, it would be great if I could teach kids a class of this. I don't know that I want a kid to have a hot iron in their hand.
Yeah, you could really burn yourself.
You could really, like, really badly, too. You know, I mean, I've had it like, oops, drop on a pair of jeans, big hole like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you got to be careful.
And it lets off heat, so you're hot while you're doing it.
No, it doesn't let off that kind of heat. It's not like, you know, you're like you're with a heater. It doesn't but your hand will get hot, you know, because the thing that you're holding, even though it's plastic with rubber and whatever, it does get hot after you're doing it for a while. And there's a smoke factor.
Okay.
Yeah, so depending on what I'm doing, I often wear a mask and have a fan on, you know,
this
all
sounds
of that.
very Shop 101 now. It doesn't sound very glamorous.
It's not a shop. It's not glamorous at all. It's not. This is glamorous.
This
you know, the whole process
is super glamorous.
Is not so glamorous, but it's fun. I love it. I just love it. And I don't even know how I ever decided that this was a thing to do. You know, and had heard of wood burning, but it was always like, you know, wolves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But never anything like this. So this is just so kind of different.
And now, how many pieces would you say you've trashed?
Trashed?
Like,
None.
you've never started a piece and went, I totally screwed that up, and I can't. No, it is not redeemable.
No, never. I've always redeemed.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's impressive.
You know, you make a line wrong, where you just go with it and make something else out of it. You know, that's all you could do. Yeah, I've never actually trashed a piece.
Okay.
So I never even thought about that, but, you know, yeah.
Well, I would think if it goes wrong, I'd get frustrated. And I'd be like, oh, it's not what I wanted.
You just got to make it right.
You have to make it right.
That's all, you got to make it right.
I would look at it and go, oh.
Yeah, no. It works, honest.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just want to talk a little bit about color. Do you have favorites?
Favorite colors? My favorite color in the whole world is purple.
Okay. So is there purple in everything you do? No.
Definitely not. Because I'm not always feeling it.
Okay.
But, I mean, like, so see this purple here, and there's a little purple there, and there's obviously some purple here. But, you know, that's my personal favorite color. But I love color.
And you put colors together that maybe I wouldn't put together?
Yeah. But I'll do that in your house, too.
You will?
Yeah, I just love color.
A Room by Ange has color.
Yes, definitely. Color is key.
Yeah. But you do put colors together. And I guess because you can make them, you can really, really...
Yes, totally. Yeah, I'm not a slave to this particular red, or because I can always tweak it a little bit and make it do what I want it to do. You know what I mean? So that's the advantage of being able to.
There's a lot of science in what you do. Like,
you know, that's funny. There's a lot of science and a lot of math.
And for somebody so creative, that's so like right brain, left brain.
I never thought about that either. Yeah, I guess. And it's so funny because when I was, you know, back in the day, when I was a child, I stunk. Math, horrible. Horrible. Science wasn't a big, you know, good in biology, chemistry, well, yeah, not so much. Algebra, seriously, this is not going to do anything for me in my life. Geometry was always decent with.
Well, geometry, geometric figures are your thing.
Exactly. So, and then after I stopped working for the phone company and data networking, and I got into interior design, geometry was like boom, 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 boom. I was able to figure out those numbers. The numbers were coming to me. It was like, wow.
Because I think art is about balance.
It is about balance.
And
it
you
is
need
so
to
about
have balance,
balance.
and that's very math oriented.
It is. It so is. Yeah. Yeah.
But then the creative side is very non-math oriented.
They go together. They really do.
Yeah, not usually.
They really, they really do.
For the average person, they either are super creative or super science. We don't usually see a crossover like that.
Well, that's interesting. Thank you to tell me that about me.
See, you learned something about yourself.
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
And your children are artistic as well?
Very much so. Yeah. Very much so. Both musicians.
So you said you come by it heredity. I'm wondering if it's, I mean, I know it has been, but it's sort of interesting to me that it's passed down through.
It is, and it's funny because you just don't know things. And I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, I was going through some stuff, you know, mom's passed, everybody's gone. And going through some of my mother's things that I guess maybe I had never gone through before, I found my grandfather's, her father's, some papers about him. And as it turned out, he was an interior designer. And I was like, are you kidding me?
So had you known that, you could have skipped the whole phone company thing and gone right into the creative.
I know. But yeah, but it wasn't meant to be. This is the path I was meant to take. And you know what? I'm glad I took it this way, took this path this way, because it's working.
Yeah, but that's working. So interesting that you have to go trace back generation to generation and then
And so, but I remember, you know, Mom always making things, and, you know.
Your mom wasn't an artist, though? She
wasn't an artist, but she was very artsy, and she was very into art. And my dad, he was, and everybody, we were all into music. You know, music was huge, huge. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. And then I had that freaking crazy opportunity to go to that camp that, you know, most of my peers would never had the opportunity to go to in Martha's Vineyard every summer. You know, it doesn't get better than that. And, you know, I studied, you know, art and music and dance and French, and I mean, it was crazy. Yeah, come on, give me a break. And I guess that just opened up my eyes, and I was exposed to things that serving me well now.
And now it's all coming out now.
Exactly.
It's all coming forward.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, you've shown at the studio, and you will again, because people love your work. I love your work. And I feel passionate about showing it, because I really feel like you do something that is so unique and such a talent that, you know, not enough people get to see it.
Thanks, Jude.
So I think that it's important that we share it with people.
Thank you.
So again, Andrea's, you can find her on Facebook, you can find her on Instagram, you can, hopefully, there's a sign in the studio that she created for us. As you walk into the studio, her work is hanging prominently in the studio, and it is beautiful, and it is inspiring, and it is peaceful, and it is all the things that you want it to be.
Labor of love.
It is a labor of love, and I hope that everybody appreciates it as much as I do. So thank you for coming and joining me today and hanging out with me in my little corner.
Thank you.
And for making my set look so beautiful today.
It does look beautiful.
And again, I continue doing what you're doing, because it really does make a difference.
Thank you.
And people do love your work.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming.
Thanks, girl.